Having difficulty with your teen? Are you struggling with finding solutions to your everyday parenting problems? Being a solo mom can be tough. I know. With all the things you juggle mostly for your children, you're left with very little time for yourself. It can be hard to see your way out from where you are currently. But what if I told you that you can change your life and the lives of your children? As a Christian solo mom of 3 adult sons, I know firsthand some of the challenges you face. But I also discovered that when I shifted my mindset, I was able to transform my life in some amazing ways. Hi, I'm Rosemarie, your personal confidant and mentor. I invite you to connect with me and take the first step towards transforming your life. Together, we can work to find solutions to your ongoing challenges and create a life you desire for yourself and your children. And no, this is not about fixing. This is about us working together to achieve your goals. So if you're ready to take the next step to empower yourself to transform your life, click the link below and sign up for a free consultation call with me. I look forward to hearing from you and helping you on your journey to becoming the best version of yourself.
Tired, weary, frustrated? What would you be doing if you weren't raising children alone? What's stopping you from living your best life now? On SoloMoms Talk, I discuss with solo mothers the challenges you face raising children alone. So if you're a working solo mom dealing with independent children, insensitive bosses, weight and health issues, or even debt collectors, join us as we discover your path to get and stay healthy, increase your income, and live with joy and purpose.
In this battle of life, it's hard to keep your head above the water. So when this fire...
My guest today is Michelle DeKeyser, a mom of 3 kids and wife. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you so much for having me today. I'm so excited to be here.
Sure, I'm very happy to have you. Okay, before we get into what you do, could you tell us who is Michelle DeKeyser?
Wow, I know you get that question all the time. All of a sudden, you're like, you go blank. But what I am is what I feel like I've always lately defined myself as a mom. But I think what I'm trying to pull back from a little bit and figure out who I am again. And that's part of where my mission came in creating this Connecting Mamas. And that's who I'm becoming more, is branching out and discovering what lights me up again. And so one of the things that lights me up is helping other moms feeling that we are more than just moms. And so that's where I started Connecting Mamas, because I felt stuck. I love my family. I love my kids. I love my husband, but I wanted more. I wanted something for me, something that lit me up.
Yes.
And so that's where I come to you today, is that's the connection that I want to bring to other moms, and who I feel I am right now is that connector in doing that. And that's what really lights me up right now.
Oh, okay. Thank you for sharing that. It's an easy task to get ourselves lost in everybody else's lives and lose ourselves, right?
And then say we have no time for it. Or even that we have that feeling like we don't deserve it. Like our role is to make sure everyone else is happy.
Right.
But that's not the case. But I think once we start to find that light and realize that we're fulfilling ourselves, we make more connections. And I feel like I've been doing that with my kids as well.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right. So now that we got that out of the way, how can we as moms build better connections first with ourselves?
And that's where the problem starts, is because we got so lost in what everyone else is doing. All of a sudden we have that voice in our head saying, I don't have time for that. I don't deserve this. I'm too busy. And it's, how do we silence that voice? Well, it starts by, we need baby steps. So it starts by asking the one question: what is one thing I can do that I am going to enjoy today? And just looking at those 10-minute increments and saying, just picking that out, because once we start that curiosity going, then we'll start to see more. But it's baby steps. Is really what it's going to take, because we're so have those thought process going on. It's going to take time too, but we just start by asking us that question. What am I going to do today that I am going to enjoy?
Okay. All right. I appreciate that. But before we can take action, we have to realize that, it's our responsibility to take action. So do you have any insight on what could trigger us to shift that mindset from, I'm a mom, I got to take care of everybody else. And, I feel guilty if I take care of myself. So can you help us on that mindset shift?
Well, I think it's first about recognizing it first, which might be the hardest part. Like, you're just so busy, you don't even notice it. But for me, that recognition came in when my kids got a little bit older, in terms that they could start doing more for themselves. All of a sudden I had like these small pockets of time. But then I looked at myself when I had these small pockets. So moms, look at yourself. Do you have like 10 minutes? All of a sudden you're like, what do I do with myself? And you're not sure. When you're in that feeling of unsure, that's the time when it's that you're ready to work on that mindset.
Right.
You want to. You don't know what to do or where to go. And that's when I start searching like what I could do. And then that's when we can start asking the questions. But it's at first just that recognizing that I do want that shift. Because I just was like, I have these few moments. I mean, it's not a lot. Not going to, we do have a lot going on. But in those moments, what do you want to do with your time? And that's where the shift starts, is recognizing it.
Okay. So it's not normal, that thinking for us as mom. It should be, but it's not. What was your aha moment?
My aha moment just came all of a sudden. I think it was partly COVID, partly that we weren't sure if we were going to homeschool the kids or we were going to send them back to school. Eventually, we did homeschool them for the year. But so it was on that day of homeschooling that I also decided that I wanted to do something for myself, knowing I was going into this year of homeschooling them. I decided to join a program called the 75 Hard. And I just I didn't know why I was doing it or what. And my husband looked at me, that look you get from your husband or from someone else. And they're just like, really, you're going to do that? It's just going to be one of those programs you're just going to not do, you're not going to complete. And it was 75 days in a row. And all of a sudden the days start ticking off. And he looked at me and goes, you're doing this. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to finish. And I ended up doing the full year long, including the 3 phases. But it was that I finally decided that I wanted to do something for myself. Okay. And it was that motivation that kept me going, because it wasn't that I needed to do it or that I had to. It was something that I felt inside for myself. And I think that's where it starts, is find the right thing that actually feels like you're doing it for you. Not because you think you should, not because someone else says, oh, this is a great program, it's really worked for me.
Right.
Because this program might not work for someone else. True. And it's that exploration, that curiosity, like, oh, that might work for me.
Right. Okay. So exploring that program actually got you aware that you actually needed to do something to do you, really. Right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. So I have more questions for you, but I have to look them up. I'm sorry. Thankfully, it's a podcast and I can edit it, right?
That's right.
Okay. All right. So I was reading your bio and you said you were doing your job as a stay-at-home mom and you felt guilty spending money on yourself. And you also felt that you didn't have the time or the energy to spend on self-care. Now, what is self-care and what does that look like for you?
Honestly, right now, the more I've been speaking with others and learning about it, I feel like self-care is a very big buzzword right now. And it actually feels kind of almost repulsive in terms of just the word itself sometimes. Like we've just been using it so much. But what we're really just looking at is, again, looking at that question, what can I do for myself that is going to help me grow? Because ultimately, we feel when we're moving forward or growing in some way, then we start to light up a little bit more. And so what kind of growth do you as a mom want to do? Is reading something you like doing? Is writing your thoughts down something you like doing? And it's exploring those questions of how do you want to grow as a person, and asking yourself that question and exploring some of the different options. So you could do journaling, you could do reading, you could listen to podcasts. I mean, there's so many varieties that it's almost overwhelming. But just being exploring, ask yourself, do I like listening to stuff better? Go for the audiobooks, go for the podcasts. Do I like as in folding laundry, but I'd rather listen to something, or would I want to watch something? There's so many, you could then go to the YouTube versions of the videos or things, but what is it that you want to learn? Are you wanting to learn photography? Are you wanting to learn drawing? Like something that you want to grow as a person is really going to help with that.
Right. Yes. And I understand that self-care has become a buzzword, but it's reality.
Yes.
Just because we overuse it doesn't mean it's not useful.
Oh no.
And yeah. So, I hope, I hope we still embrace it, especially moms, because if this was a man thing or a dad thing, nobody would say it's overused.
That's so true. I love that perspective. Thank you for putting in those words. That is so true, because as women, we like put those stuff on our, and that's me making that judgment right now, and trying to release that. And we do need to take care. And you know what also I want to mention about self-care too, is sometimes it's just having those conversations with other moms or other women.
Yes.
And opening up and asking for help also is a great form of self-care that is sometimes the hardest for us.
Yeah.
Just saying, because people might not realize that you need the help.
Right.
If you think about it, when someone asks you for help, how do you respond? And you almost feel sometimes like, oh, I'm so glad they asked. I had no idea.
Yes.
You have to think about that the other way, because that is one of the greatest self-cares and brings connection between you and that other person as well.
Yeah.
Which is ultimately what we're looking for.
Right, exactly. And speaking of asking for help, you talk about connections and building connections, and that's one of the things, especially solo moms, where we sometimes feel isolated because we just buried in raising kids, right? But we also know that maybe that's just a mindset thing. Right. Mm-hmm. So how can we better, create a wider space or a wider, the word I'm looking for is room for other people in our lives other than our kids or the co-parent to build those connections that we actually need?
That's such a great question. I love it so much. And it's really coming down to the intentionality of it, is making that intention that we want that and that we're going forward with it. Because I mean, we do, especially as moms, we need to put that into the calendar. And even if we have to reschedule it, it's more likely to happen because it was in the calendar in the first place. So it's finding that one or two other people that you want to make that commitment to, and saying we're going to do Monday nights or we're going to do once a month, and putting it into the calendar. And that's really, with the way we operate, we really need that intentionality and that time that we are going to put in it. And when that day comes and you're like, oh, I'm so tired, I don't want to go, I know I really should go, and you have those shoulds in your head, give yourself a note or a voice message or something beforehand going, I felt so much better after I went. Just get your clothes on and just get out the door, or better yet, invite them over to your house. Who cares what your house looks like? Have a cozy night with some other people. And there's some connection.
Yeah.
Send that message to yourself. There's also the futureme.org. Send yourself a letter that day of the email. In the morning, send yourself an email going, just invite them over. If you don't feel like going out, don't cancel though. Find a way that makes it work for you to get that connection. We all need it.
Yes, that's true. And that is so, I like that you say that, remind yourself, right? I do it with friends and I do it with podcasting. That I don't want to talk to anybody today because I don't feel like it. I'm not in the mood, right? And you do it, you go through the action, you meet with a friend, and then you're like, oh my God, I feel so good. You learned something you didn't think you would learn, right? Or meet somebody you didn't think you would meet. So yes, thank you for that.
And the other, you brought a good point with meeting other people too. a lot of times when you feel like the loneliness is, you hear the thing like, you should go join these new organizations. It's a great way to meet people. Baby steps towards that rather is to say you're in the line for your coffee or something, to actually try to make a conversation with someone around you, like just a little bit more than you might have done before, or just that effort of a sentence or two longer will give you that confidence and that habit we're building, because that getting used to it and being able to do that is a learned behavior.
Yes.
So if we just keep slowly creating that habit towards connecting with others, it becomes easier, and you never know what's going to happen from that interaction. You never know.
That's true. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Get out of our heads, right?
Just one or two extra sentences.
Thank you very much for that. Okay. Tell us about the truth, or tell us the truth about motherhood and loneliness while we're on that topic.
Well, the truth is, it is really lonely, right? I mean, we've all felt that, because especially what I've noticed is even when I've done, like, say I go to a mom's book club or a mom's group, like you have this great camaraderie in that moment. And then the next day, like the kids are upset, like you like, who do I reach out to?
Yes.
And that's where the struggle comes in. It's not necessarily that if you haven't created those connections where it's someone that you can call in the midst of everything, or text or whatever it is, that's where the loneliness builds up. And then you go on your Facebook and you're like, oh, everyone else has someone. Why don't I? But that's probably not true, that everyone else has this. And we always put our best self on Facebook or whatever social media, not the reality of it all. And so, but it's those baby steps that we're taking towards, okay, well, I really do need to reach out to someone. Like let me go through who could I reach out to? And just sending that SOS sometimes. But that's the hardest part, is when we feel in that isolation, is like, we don't want to do that. And it's almost recognizing that we need to do that, and that others are probably feeling the same way we do, and hoping that someone else reaches out to them.
True. Thank you.
Someone has to take the first step, though.
Yes, for sure. All right. Thank you. So what is Michelle grateful for today?
Oh, well, first, I'm grateful for you having me on here. But what I'm really grateful for was the weekend that I had with my kids this weekend. My son and I were working really hard trying to get our black belts. And so on Saturday, we did our testing, and we both earned our black belts together.
Oh, awesome.
It was just the connection of it all, and doing it with him, because I was a little bit behind him in belt level, but he didn't want to test without me, and I didn't want to hold him back, but it was something I wanted to do with him. So I pushed myself to achieve that with him. And that was really special. So I'm really grateful that we were able to do that together.
Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow. So you can kick my butt. I mean, you could probably anyway, but
I've never really done the sparring, but I can do a good kick, and I'm getting good on my forms, getting there. But it's all a work in progress, right?
Yes. That's awesome.
The best part was just that I was doing it with them, and I really did. And my youngest daughter, still does it with us as well. She just wasn't at the black belt level, but it's just doing it together is what I'm grateful for in the process of that. And that.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I'm proud of you. Yeah.
Thank you. It was a lot of work.
Sure. Okay, so tell us. Tell me about your work, what you do, and how we can get in touch with you, and how you can help us. So
I created Connecting Mamas. And what Connecting Mamas is the way to bring moms together. So I'm offering right now a 6-week course, starting up in January again, and it'll be offered different times throughout the year. But what the course really is we go through the check-in process, and it's going through, the C is for curiosity, H is for honesty, E is for expectation, K is for keep listening. Connection, and then keep listening, and intentional now. But what it really is my whole goal is that I want to bring moms together. And so when we get to that second C of connection, we are in a Zoom room, but I want to provide you with that group, kind of almost matchmake the moms, so that by the end of the 6-week course, they are able to take that group with them. So you're no longer wondering, who am I going to reach out to? Who's going to be my accountability partner? That's part of what I want to provide for you. Because I just want to create the circles and the connection. And what's really inspiring was Dr. Bolian has talked about she's talked about 1 million circles. And so I believe it was 2017, the Dalai Lama said the Western woman is going to change the perspective, like we're going to change that paradigm.
Mm-hmm.
And so her interpretation of that was with these 1 million women circles, metaphorical number, at some point we're going to have that tipping point because we're working together. So my whole thing is to help with that mission as well and help mom circles so that we can come together and collaborate and learn and grow. And so I want to provide that structure, working with yourselves, but then also be open and honest with some other moms as well and have that. It's all about the baby steps. Vulnerability is not easy, but it's that process. And so this is your place to do it in a safe space. And then to be able to take it with you as you keep practicing it, you start to learn who should I be vulnerable with? How am I going to do it? You do not need to be vulnerable with everybody, but you do need to be vulnerable with somebody. You need to get that stuff off of you and picking the right people to do that with. So I want to create that space for it. But for your audience, I want to offer the mini course, which is free. If you just go to connectingmamas.com and click the free course, it just takes you through the check-in process for yourself, and you can get a taste for the different letters, and it gives you an activity for each to start checking in with yourselves and then learning how to check in with people around you.
Oh, okay. And that's connectingmamas.com.
Yes.
Yes, we'll put that in the show notes. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. And are you on Instagram?
I am on Instagram as Mama Connector, and I'm on YouTube, also Connecting Mamas.
Okay.
I'll give you all the links in the show notes as well.
Right. Okay, cool. All right. So before I let you go, give us one piece of advice for a solo mom.
For a solo mom, it's really thinking about and making that first step to reach out to another mom, especially a solo mom sticking together, because you need each other. And the other mom on the other end is probably thinking, I wish someone would reach out just like you're thinking. So just take that step and start making your own circle and bring each other together and make your own chat. And it's so much better when we do motherhood together than doing it.
Yes, definitely. Great advice. Thank you very much, Michelle DeKeyser. Never mind. I'm just awful at this. But thank you very much, Michelle, for coming and talking.
It looks like DeKyser. Yeah, that's okay. I get it all the time.
Got questions about podcasting? Do you find yourself struggling with the tools and strategies that you know will help you launch and grow your show? Why not join the New West Podcasters Club, where you can get your questions answered by me or one of our guest experts? The link to our next meeting is below. Sign up today and don't let confusion about podcasting stop you from owning your genius. Whether you're an individual or a nonprofit, the New West Podcasters Club is where podcasters come for answers. Link below for our next meeting. Hello, Solo Moms. Do you feel isolated and alone in your parenting journey? Are you tired of facing the challenges of solo parenting by yourself? If so, then I have the perfect solution for you. Join Solo Moms Connect, the ultimate support group for moms raising children on their own. As a solo mom of 3 adult sons, I want to provide a safe and welcoming space where you can connect with other moms, share your experience, and find answers to your questions. So don't go it alone. Be part of a thriving community of solo moms. Join Solo Moms Connect today and get the support and guidance you need to succeed as a solo parent. Join us today and be a part of a community of strong and resilient solo moms. Solo Moms Connect, building stronger communities, one mom at a time. So don't wait. Click the link below and join us today.